Hello everyone. Welcome to the second episode of the Conversation with Mayank. Today we have Richa Bhatia in the house. Hi Richa, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Mayank. How are you?
Yeah, all good. But it is raining like cats and dogs in Mumbai, so which makes me a bit
Yeah.
annoying. But yeah, anyways, thanks for asking, Richa. So first of all, I would like to thank you very much for getting out your time today, and you have a so busy schedule. Still, you got some time for us and to share your experience with us. So let me introduce you to our audience. You have so many feathers in a cap, so might be I forget some one or two, but I will try to cover the most as I can. So Richa is an All India ranker in all the levels of CA exams. Post which she was associated with the JP Morgan. She also cracked CAT exam and got the admission in the top B schools of the country, which every CAT aspirant dreams. That is IIM Ahmedabad. After that, she has so much hunger left still, and she there bagged a placement in one of the most desirable consulting companies, that is a Bain and Company. So, I think so. Is there anything that I have missed out?
No, not really. I think you covered everything, and that's enough for now.
Okay, great, great. So, just while I was going to your profiles, I was just curious to you have got all ranks at all the levels, then you cracked CAT, got in admission into IIM Ahmedabad. So, you have set a very high benchmarks for your siblings, or is it like a other way around, like your elder or some other siblings have set the benchmark and you are following the trend in house?
Yeah, I think it's typically in my genes itself. So my father is an engineer, but he's really interested in finance, and he's the reason why I chose to become a CA in the first place. He used to like give me stock market updates about what he was investing in. He used to give me ideas to fill when I was like in the ninth grade itself. So he's the reason why I chose, the finance field in the first place. And as far as setting a high benchmark for siblings go, I think my siblings have been doing really well, in their respective fields. So we have a lot of variety in the house. We have lawyers, we have CAs, we have engineers. So I think that's mostly what our, parents and the other generation has given us.
So you have got intelligence or the high performing from in the blood. It is going through our bloods actually.
Yeah.
So you cracked CA exams in the first shot and you got all India rank at all the levels. So maybe a one person getting a rank in a one of the levels, we might say not actually it is like a maybe a luck based factor, but you have got ranks in all the across the three formats. So definitely you would have got some of the success method or some of the tricks and techniques to crack the most of the toughest exams of the country. So if you can share what unique thing that you have done while prepping for your CA finals or maybe at the intermediate level.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like unique, but I think one thing that CA course really requires is determination. So you really need to, have it in your mind that you really need to crack this exam. Unless and until you take it seriously, I don't think you will be able to crack CA anywhere. So right from CPD, I did not, have like a rank in mind. I just wanted to clear the exam in the first place. And CPD was something I gave once I cleared my 12th, and I was someone who was really excited to go to SRCC. But that year the cutoff was high, and I missed SRCC by like 2 marks. So
Oh,
like for a month or something, I just gave up on CA as well. I was really confused on how to take it forward. And then my then mentor, sat with me, gave me a counseling sort of a session, and told me to focus on CA. So I think that one failure of being not being able to go to SRCC was what fueled my desire to have a rank in CA at all the levels.
great, great. Like you have got the ranks at all India level for all the exams, all the levels. Then you what motivated you to do a MBA post that you have got the ranks and you can enter into every field of maybe into the core finance or it might be any of the top conglomerates of the country. So then you have worked for a couple of years or couple of months and then you again started prepping for the CAT exams and you went ahead with the cracking the CAT. So what was the motivation behind doing a MBA then?
Yeah, so for the first year itself, I really enjoyed the job I'd gotten at JP Morgan. It was a new team, and I was really enjoying the job itself. So I did not really think a lot about CAT. I gave CAT, but it was just like going to the exam center and just giving for the sake of it. But the second year itself, when I was, growing in the firm, and I was looking at my roles and responsibilities, so I realized that there's somewhere where I'll hit the ceiling in this particular job. And when I want to exit from here as well, there are opportunities I want to access, but those are accessible by only MBAs, because India is a very competitive country. Those jobs are limited, those roles are limited. So I think, without an MBA, I would not be able to access those. So that's the reason why I chose to do an MBA.
Nice, nice. So like just a follow-up question, like you have in a you have a very clear mindset to do an MBA from a very beginning, or like after, like you, as you mentioned, like you joined JPMC and then you realized that okay, to achieve your goals you should go for an MBA. So like you have a preconceived, like you want to go into a consulting when you will enter into an MBA, or maybe like it was like you will go and explore a bit more about other domains, and might be that the consulting was one of the domain that you fit into most.
Yeah, so MBA was always actually at the back of my mind. So, like I mentioned, my mentor had like a counseling session for me. So, the roadmap he drew for me was a CACS plus MBA sort of a roadmap. Eventually, after doing CA, I realized that CS would not really be like a value add to me. So, I dropped CS, but MBA was always something which was there in the back of my mind that I will require this in the future. So, it was not really a novel thought, just that my role at JP Morgan and the way I was looking at my role really, pushed me for that MBA as a final choice. Yeah, so that was in that particular scenario. That's how like MBA came.
So, oh, just curious to know, like, which department you were into, like, when you were working into a JPMC, and what were your key responsibilities at JPMC?
Yeah, so it was the centralized research group. It's a CRG group which JP Morgan has. It's a middle office kind of a setup where they cater to US and European clients and Asian clients as well. So it's not really a client interactive role, but you do a lot of investment banking. You do everything what an investment banker does, just that you are not allowed to interact with clients. Mine was a different sort of a setup in the way that the team was really new, and the clients we had gotten was middle market US clients. So middle market US clients are really the clients which are just starting out. And my sector was healthcare. So those were healthcare startups, mostly funded by VCs or PEs. So my job was to evaluate a venture debt or an LBO for those clients. So that's the first time where I interacted with the VC and PE industry as well. And that's the reason why I got my interest in VC and PE again from there.
Nice, nice. So, like, you were worked for like most of the top-notch healthcare startups, and you have exposure to P and VC as well. So like those years or might be like quite hectic for you. So like how did you manage to balance CAT exam with along with like doing a full-time job at JPMC with regard with like having a in a division of a LBO and the VCs and the PCs in the mind?
Yeah, I think I've been lucky, like really lucky, and like all thanks to my manager who was there with me in JP Morgan as well. But so the first year was definitely hectic while we were setting up the team. I joined the team as a first person in that particular team, and when I left, the team was like of 35. I think
Mm,
it's grown to above 50 people now. So that team has like performed really well within the department itself. But the first year was focused on building the team, getting good work from the US clients, and building the portfolio itself within that particular department. But the second year, because I helped build the team, I had hired a lot of people, I helped with the interviews and all of that. So I was able to take a backseat from the work itself. I was able to delegate a lot to those new recruits, and I took like a leadership position within the projects itself. So I got to experience the leadership part of it, and also the side benefit was I was able to delegate a lot. And
great, great.
one added advantage was it was the COVID year. It was work from home
Yeah,
for all of us. So it was
yes.
easier to manage that as well.
Same with me actually. Like when I started, so it was a quite hectic job for me as well. So I remember like I was in the middle of the time I was thinking, okay, I will not be able to crack that, and then again a COVID hit, and like I was like a bit of a fortunate like because of a COVID hit, and like due to a work from home, we were like able to manage the CAT exam preparation
Yeah.
as well. So, you also mentioned you were handling few of the interviews or maybe the recruiting side of the JPMC. So, is there like any possibility that you also got at the IMA and you were in the like by any chance you were also a placements committee member there, or is it not? Just curious to know.
Not really. So like one of the reasons why I chose to do MBA was also having like a college life. And I really just wanted to enjoy the 2 years I had gotten at IIMA, and it was a college experience I wanted to, have in BCom as well, but I did not. So I went in with the mindset that I do not want to study, I do not want to focus on books. I am just here to have fun. The first year was, focused a lot on academics because it's IIMA, the A stands for academic rigor. So first year was focused on that, but second year I was very sure that I want to go for exchange. I want to just have fun. I do not want any responsibility.
Great, great. So you cleared CAT with the like how many percentile if you can share?
Yeah. So my percentile was a little bit less. It was 96.8.
But you
And
have a
I
art.
think the
Yeah,
reason, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So
please
I
continue.
had like 25 months of work ex at the time of CAT itself. So I think since my work ex was higher and the percentile was lower, and the CA rank helped as well, in getting the shortlist.
Yeah, I think so. Like, as far as I know, like they call around 50 top applicants who got a rank in the CA, CS, and CMA across the formats, and I think
Yeah,
so. Like,
yeah,
there
yeah, yeah,
actually I
yeah. That's the
came.
quote I used, to get the call.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. So, like, there's a popular misconception among the all the aspirants. Maybe it might be a CAT aspirant or it might be a CA aspirant. Like, you need to clock so many hours in a day to like achieve your maybe a all India rank in a CAs or maybe to get into a top of the B school. So, just if you can honestly tell us how many number of hours like you were clocking when you were preparing for your CA exams as well as for your CAT exams.
So CA, I think I agree with the crowd and the rumors going around that you need put in a lot of hours, and it's true because especially when you are on the study leave. So for the study leave, I remember I had my friend with me, so both of us, used to study like 15, 16 hours a day, and was just I used to take like 1 hour break during the day. It was half an hour lunch and half an hour I used to watch one episode of Friends. It was the thing which kept me alive in those 5 months. So and apart from that, I just used to take sleep and food breaks. So CA, I put in a lot of hours. There's no wrong thing in saying that you need hours for CA because that's the course demands it. For CAT, I would, disagree, but also it might be because of the fact that I was at home and I was able to delegate, so I could manage with less hours as well. But for me, CAT was more about smart work. So I knew I could manage to get calls with a lesser percentile as well. So I focused on, managing only the number of questions I knew I needed to break that kind of percentile. So for an example, if I was talking about the quant section, I knew out of the 24 questions, I just needed to solve 15, 16 of them to make the cutoff. So I focused on solving 15, 16 only. I focused on the topics for those 15, 16. I excluded topics like trigonometry, which like 1 or 2 questions come in like 1 or 2 years. So I excluded those topics, and that's how I like prepared for CAT. So for CAT, I would agree that you can manage with smart.
Okay, okay, yeah. So, like, what all calls did you get after your CAT results? Like, finally you chose IIM Ahmedabad. So, it would be like a no-brainer for you, or like you need to choose like among ABC. Like, if you are having a inclination towards a finance, you might go to a C rather than focusing on Ahmedabad. You might select Calcutta, or is the vice versa for you? Or like you have put it so many of hours of thinking, okay, I should choose A over any other college, or it's like a no-brainer, like it is Ahmedabad actually.
Yeah, so to be honest, I was really confused whether to go for A or B, but the choice got made for me. I actually applied to ABCL. And L, I did not make the quants cutoff, like I mentioned, so I missed the quants cutoff. So the cutoff was 85. I got 84.85 in quants. So I missed the cutoff by like 0.15 percentile. So L was already ruled out. C naturally doesn't call you at 96.8. So again, C was ruled out. I got calls from A and B, and I thought that my B interview went better than A, but it turned out to be different. B did not select me, A did. So my choices were made for me. I did not have to suffer through that, mental dilemma of A and B. And I'm really, really thankful for it because till date, I don't know which one is better, like A, B, or C. So I'm thankful that the choice was made for me. I didn't have to do that.
So might be you were lucky like at all the levels and across all your ages, and you got into the
Yeah,
M.
I would I attribute a certain part of my success to luck for sure.
Okay. So, like, how was your experience at IIM Ahmedabad? Like, when we talk about Ahmedabad, so the first picture comes into our mind is about the designs and the Vikram Sarabhai library and the full of the plenty of it, so much of a greenery across the campus and so on. So, like, what was your experience at IIMA, and like, what was the first image like when you first visited the campus and before when you were planning to visit the campus? How was it there different?
I think I was one of those people who get motivated a lot when see people doing that what you want to achieve. So I used to watch a lot of videos of people making campus tours on IIM Ahmedabad. I used to watch those a lot, like people decorating their IIMA room, hostel room, and all of that. I used to look at those and get motivated while I was giving that. So when once I reached the campus, it was like it finally, was there that I made it to the place. So the first 2 months it was usually denial that I don't think I've really made it over here. So the first 2 months were that. After that, I think once the pressure of CV proofs, placements, ACADS, everything starts coming, and I think you do end up realizing that okay, you are finally doing MBA and you have to focus on everything. But apart from first year, I think first year was obviously naturally difficult, especially the first term is like hell in an MBA for any, I think, any college out there because of the placements
Totally
and
agree.
the
Yeah.
CADs as well. But apart from term one, I think term two onwards, I think it was a really nice experience for me because, as I mentioned, I did not focus a lot on grades. I focused a lot on enjoying those 2 years. So technically, I call it as a break from my corporate journey. I just like took 2 years of sabbatical sort of a thing where I gained a degree and gained a lot of friends, gained a lot of experience, and then came back to the corporate life.
Absolutely, absolutely true. So you also mentioned like the first term is a hell, and I think so. Like for a few of my friends at IIM Ahmedabad also have a like clicked up the picture like a PGP one survivor. So you have also clicked up a picture like a PGP one survivor or the first term survivor with the bundles of the books or the sacks of the books.
Yes, so we have that bundle of photos. I think everybody of each one of us have. But something happened like towards someone we were like leaving for a trip, so I could not get my picture itself. I have the bundle of books. I used my bundle of books for the whole dorm. I was a dorm rep as well, so I was using
Oh.
my books to get everyone that picture, but I don't have a picture with that book set.
You also mentioned like IIM Ahmedabad, so A stands for academic rigor. So like as at a top B school, how it balances like a high academic rigor along with the industry experience and the cultural fest and so other things that are happening in the B schools. So like the first is like how is the academic rigor like literally like what is the like I have heard about the attendance rates of in a like what we need to attend into a class, and then comes your other industrial experience. So like how it balances between the two.
So, like attendance, for sure, you have to go and attend. Like 80% of the classes is compulsory. 20% attendance, also 10% you can leave generally. The other 10% will come from medicals and all of that. But I think most of the people like that academic rigor, especially term two onwards, because you don't have the pressure of the placements anymore, but you get to learn a lot. So a lot of courses which were there, like finance, economics, was something I had learned before, but there were a lot of aspects of those subjects as well which I had never heard of before. So economics specifically, I like as CAs we use it as a theory. We learn theory itself, but I had never used graphical representations of all those formulas. I never knew how to graphically derive a formula before that. Statistics again is something which we learn in CPT, but the kind of stats we gained in like term one, that was completely different. So I think you after a certain point you enjoy the academic rigor as well, and that enjoyment ends with year one. Year two, you need to enjoy yourself apart from the academics, and that IIMA allows you by telling you to go on exchange, choosing your own subjects. You can get like whatever grades you want by choosing your favorite subjects or subjects you're good at. So I mostly chose like finance courses in the second year because I
To
thought like
balance
I'll
out
be
your
able to ace
CGPA.
them. Yes, yeah, yeah.
Even I did choose some of electives from finance, but I find like when we are studying in a top B school, so like even though we have already learned few or like most of the finance concepts, maybe from accounts, maybe taxation, or maybe the finance, but the teaching style or the like how the professors teach at the top B schools are like way different from what we have learned like what we have learned is more about the theoretical way and how they took it. Like I remember in the first class of the accounts itself, so the professor started with a balance sheet rather than starting with a general entry. He started with analyzing the balance sheet and how you can add a value to the stakeholders. And I was wondering like how we can go straightforward to that actually. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of friends like struggled with that, and I could relate to them, like people who did not come like from a finance background, and suddenly something like a costing is thrown to them, and you're told to calculate how to calculate a variance, like budget variances and all of
Yeah.
that, and they really struggle with that, and I completely related with them when I had to study quants and those kind of subjects. So I think it's somewhere you like learn to help each other out and make it through the journey together.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You also mentioned about the foreign exchange program that the IIM Ahmedabad provides. So, like, what all countries you can like the colleges have the tie-up, and how which college you have visited, if by any chance you have gone into the exchange program.
Yeah, so I did go for an exchange, and that was one of the reasons why I took up MBA. So that was not like a no-brainer for me. I had to go on exchange. So, and fortunately, the grades I had gone were decent enough to make it through the barrel of the list. So I made it like somewhere down the list. Not I was not in the top of the exchange list, but I made it through the list. In terms of the countries, so they have like tie-ups with Asian countries as well. They have 2, 3 US universities, and mostly the other ones are based in Europe, so across Europe. I took a university which was based in Finland, and I chose that one because it was opening at a lower rank and I had a lower rank. Secondly, it did not have an attendance policy. I could make it through with zero attendance as well. And like I mentioned, I did not go there to study. I went there to roam. So I roamed around Europe for like 3 months.
I think so. It actually naturally comes for all the CA aspirants or the CA students who go to a B school, because we have suffered for 4 years through lots of the pains and through studying lots of the tons of the books that we have read. So when you go into a B school, the first aim is to enjoy a college life to the fullest. Actually,
Yeah, I think that's the wonder of MBA, which I realized like after 2 years is MBA will give you the choice to do whatever you want. People who want to pursue acads, there were CAs in my batch who were really concerned about CGPA. They wanted to learn academically as well. So they scored, in my senior batch, all the top gold medalists and silver medalists are CAs.
yeah.
So it's a whole different variety out there. People who want to do acads, people who want to make friends, people who want to party, people who want to go for an exchange. So it's a whole variety out there, and you can keep choosing whatever you want. So I think that's the best part of the MBA.
So as you again mentioned, like MBA opens up like plethora of opportunities for you, or like for anyone who got into an admission. So like what makes it unique about IIM Ahmedabad? Like across all the big schools, what we have seen is like there's a case study based pattern, like a similar placement process that goes on. There will be some cultural fest, again exchange program. So like what one thing you think like that makes uh very like a poles apart from the other colleges to the IIM Ahmedabad?
See, if I knew the answer to that, I would have been able to choose Ahmedabad, the first thing I got. But like I mentioned, I was very confused between A, B, and C. But yeah, one thing I can mention which is different about A is the placement process. So it's a lot more student friendly than other colleges. You get an option to dream in finals, even if you have a PPO. You get an option to sit in LATs as well. So you have lateral placements. If you get a job offer from there, you again have an option to, improve your chances in final placements as well. So I think that aspect in IIM Ahmedabad is like really nice. But apart from that, I think it's pretty much consistent across ABC. I would say.
Yeah, yeah. So you mentioned about a placement process at IIM Ahmedabad. So like you got into Bain and Company during your summer for your summer internship, and like definitely you would have been placed very early. So like the first question is like if you have like placed so early, so how did you manage the time gap, or maybe the few months later? Like is that like your MBA was completed when you got into a Bain and Company or the consulting firm, or how was like that for you?
So I would say the purpose of my MBA was completed once I got PPO from Bain. That would be the right thing to say. But yeah, so yeah, obviously placements are like a really crucial phase in the journey. But I think two most important things during the placement process which I learned was, one, focus a lot on your CV. That is the only thing that will make or break your shortlists. And once you have your shortlist, have like a clear mindset of what you want to achieve and go after it, because what really happens is and what happened with me initially as well, I was really confused between consult and finance initially. And after a certain point I realized that if I keep prepping for both, I might lose out on both. So I had to take a call that what I want to go after in summers, and then maybe take a career shift if this is something I don't like. So I focused on consulting and did my internship over there. So I think that is something you really need to focus a lot on, that what you want to achieve, and then keep that as a priority, and then focus on the other things.
Great, great. So you got into Bain and Company. You were like you were summer intern there. So like like how was your experience at Bain? Like what kind of projects you were handling? Like if you can brief it out, keeping in mind the confidentiality for sure.
Yeah. Sure. So I would obviously not be able to give a lot of details
Sure.
because of structure out there. But I worked on two projects. One was a report which focused on the e-commerce trends in the industry. It's a report which comes out every year. So that was a different kind of experience because we focused a lot on industry research and what are the key trends and how to project them to the audience in a very concise format. So on a certain page you would just depict one key insight you want to tell the audience, and then it's a huge report. So I learned over there. The second project I worked on was a traditional consulting sort of a project, which was cost reduction for diagnostic chain. So that was again a different kind of experience, but the sector was something I already knew about, the healthcare sector. So that helped me in that project as well. But overall I think the internship was really nice experience. They really care a lot about interns, and obviously the perks which come with consulting are something which people really like, the 5-star experiences, the free dinners, the parties, and all of that. So obviously that was an add-on.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. So like you got placed very early. So like you have cracked your SIPs as well. And so like if you can share a few tips that help you to crack your SIPs or some internship programs, like to help your our juniors or the incoming batch of IIM Ahmedabad and few other colleges as well.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, one is focus a lot on your CV, and your CV proofs will matter a lot. Obviously, it depends on the kind of college you are in and the placement process over there. But your CV will make or break your shortlist because the recruiters do not know you personally, and there's no chance for you to go and present yourself. Your CV will speak for you. So CV is very important. So the first month should all be all about CV. Once the CV is done, then you start prepping, and you need to make the top two sectors. You need to decide whether it's marketing or general management, whether it's consulting and finance. So you need to pick your sectors and then stick to it towards the end. Once, if by chance they don't work out, then you pick up your backup plan, and always have a backup plan as well. So there in IIM Ahmedabad we have the cluster process. So if you do not make it through cluster one, then you need to have a backup plan for cluster two as well. So similarly, you should have. I think the only key thing I would say to wrap this up would be, just have clarity in your mind that where you want to be. And it might happen that summers don't work out for you really well. So you have another chance at finals as well. And it's not the end of the world if you don't get a good job at summers, because finals are always there.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. So like I was also talking with one of our juniors. So like he was also a bit confused, like what domain he or she should choose upon. So I was just also said like summer internship is meant for an experiment. Actually, you can always experiment. If you don't like the domain or maybe the job, you can always sit for a finals, and you will like definitely get lots of opportunities here and there as well. Actually.
Yeah.
So, Richa, like one quick question again. So I'm Ahmedabad actually. Like I'm also a very curious person for to know more about the IIM Ahmedabad per se. So like, what was the one thing that helped you to ace your journey at IIM Ahmedabad? Like there will be so much of the academic rigor, so much of the so much pains and like the hustle you were going across the your campus and so on. So like the what was the one thing that you think like because of that reason you were able to ace your IIM Ahmedabad journey?
What's the one regret I have?
No, no, like one
I,
thing
I, I didn't get your question. Sorry.
so like if I say how how I managed to ace my IIM code journey. So like a few of your friends or maybe my roommate helped me a lot during
Hmm.
every part or every spare of what we have spent in our college. So like how you like help us.
I think I would say the similar thing for me. Like the people you meet in MBA are the reason why you would be able to survive the college, because you are away from home and you are on that campus, and there's a lot of stress around you. Might be stress of placements, might be personal stress, everything like of those 2 years. So you need, your comfort zone, and you need to build that comfort zone really soon. So I think similarly for me, it would be the people I got from my MBA, and those were the reason I was able to enjoy the journey so much.
Yeah, absolutely true. So like if you go into a past and if you can change a one thing at IIM Ahmedabad, so like what would be a one thing that you want to change, except the photo of the PGP-1 survivor? Huh?
So I would say that everybody who comes in, IMA, once the CV process starts and once you see the placement rigor around you, everybody somewhere gets that imposter syndrome that maybe you're not supposed to be here, and everybody around you is like much more intelligent than you. I also got that while the placements were going on, depending on the shortlist you are getting or depending on the prep you are doing. For me, it was the prep part of it, because I saw engineers around me who had done like 3-4 months of case prep before coming to MBA itself. And I was someone who was really struggling with cases initially. So I had a lot of this in mind that maybe I'm not made for consulting, or maybe I'm, doubting. I started doubting myself a lot, and a senior helped me during that time, and I eventually made it through the placement process. So one advice I think, or one thing I would change going back, would be to remove that doubt from my mind that I'm not good enough to belong at it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, I think so. Like we have come to like our time, and like we can conclude it here. So yeah, thank you, Richa.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for your time and like to take a time and from your busy schedule and come to help our incoming batches and all of the people that will be seeing our video. Thank you, Richa, once again. Yeah.
thanks, Mayank.